to her.
Yeah.
Oh, no!
Matt, what the hell was that?
Wasn't me, coach. Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Get off our lawn.
Welcome to the Straight Red Card. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with your grandma. Yeah, for reals. Yeah, okay, we got to pull ourselves out of that negative thing. We were just in there. So we were having this discussion
now, yeah,
before the show, and I was at work, and somebody brought up the Idaho murders. And this older lady, she's about 10 years older than me, maybe 15. She turned around, she said, "That ain't shit." And I said, "What?" She said, "That ain't shit compared to the worst things I've ever heard." And I'm like, "What have you heard?" She's like, "You weren't around for it, probably." You know, in the late 70s, there was the toolkit killers, and they would kidnap young women and teenagers and girls and torture them to death. And I just said, "I've never heard of this." She's like, "Yeah, late 70s. Look it up. Bittaker and Norris." And I'm like, "What the fuck?" Okay. So what did I do when I get home? I looked it up. And I just went to the Wikipedia page and almost vomited. Seriously, I did.
Dude,
that's how horrible that shit is. It's disgusting.
Basically, our entire conversation ended up with saying, like, you know what? Death in prison isn't enough for them.
Not for those two guys. They should have been tortured or something, because that what they did was so
punishment should match the crime in that situation. Fuck that.
Oh my God. And these are young girls, 15, 16. It's horrible. Anyhow, let's start off on this negative thing.
Hold on.
But
because LOL wasn't an introduction.
Yeah. But I'd never heard of it before. So I was curious, and I'm not going beyond the Wikipedia page. Apparently there's transcripts and all kinds of other things you can read. And I'm not touching those, because that affected my mental health immediately. I'm like, this shit is bumming me out, man. I don't want to hear anymore. So anyhow, I don't recommend anybody else read it too, so I shouldn't have brought it up, but it's horrible. It's really gruesome.
Can't put that toothpaste back in the tube there, Derek.
I know, but I had to explain why I was in a sullen mood when we started here, or why we both were, because we were talking about it before the show, which we should always talk about jolly things before the show. Anyhow, the turd in the background says, "Welcome back to the Straight Red Card. Tampon roster release today." What? Tampon? All right, who's excited? I know I am. I just need to read up on Anthony Hudson. There's nothing to read about. I'm sure there's some great tidbits about him.
Good luck fluffing that one. Yeah.
The only thing great about his tidbits, or maybe his tidbits.
He was the assistant coach to Gregg Berhalter.
I mean, there's not really much great going on when you read about Anthony Hudson. Like I said, if his tidbits are large, that would probably be the best thing about him. Caju Sports Club. I subscribe to Paramount Plus, but U.S. men's national team is now on HBO Max. I would like to watch some MLS, but it's behind Apple's paywall. I won't buy cable. No soccer located in the USA for me.
Yeah.
Go
ahead, Brett. I think that's Kaiju Sports Club.
I couldn't see if the I was after the Jew. It's okay. It's before the J. All right.
Yeah.
Kaiju Sports Club. I don't know where that is. I'm assuming somewhere either in Japan or Africa. That would be my guess. But that's just a guess. Wow. Toolbox Killers. Yeah, dude.
Eric, do you need to put your glasses on, man? W.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. Oh, W-O-W. Okay, that's wow, Derek. Yeah, don't look that up, dude. It ain't worth the mental distress.
It looks like Antonio either knew about it or decided to look it up after you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's so gruesome. Yeah. Anyhow, I don't want to give it any more credit, because those guys.
We're gonna get demonetized for this shit now.
Those two idiots died in jail at the age of 69 and 72 or something like that. And they should have just given the parents baseball bats and said, "Go at them. Have fun."
You put out an entire table of just tools you found in the shed. And each one of them goes in with one tool at a time. That's all I'm going to say.
After what they did, I would hesitate. But anyhow, since they didn't have the death penalty in California, which, listen, I'm no big, huge death penalty fan, but those two guys, okay, I'm on board for that. You telling me not to look it up makes me want to look it up. I'm so fucking sorry, Chris. Yeah, I know this was going to happen if I brought it up, and I shouldn't have brought it up. But, I came in the show with this sort of dark frame of mind, and I had to explain why. All right. By the way, go ahead.
I was going to say real quick, back to Kaiju and his subscription issues.
Yeah.
Great thing about Paramount is you still got Champions League. You still got Serie A. You can still watch Weston until he's sold at some point, maybe. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
They're transferred. He in AC for too much longer. He might get shipped back to Barca. Barcelona.
Sent back to. Okay. I'm using all the PC language. All right. By the way.
This wasn't going quite there, but yeah.
Yeah, this was kind of funny. So I was on Reddit doing some of that research today, but one thing that broke me out of my dark mental space was one of the featured Reddit questions of today was, how huge were dinosaur dicks? Not very big, I'm guessing.
And moreover, were T-Rexes really frustrated because they couldn't whack off?
Just keep in mind they're related to birds too. So when's the last bird you saw that was hung like a fucking horse?
Don't ducks have like some wicked looking thing? Like I'm pretty sure. I'm not gonna search up duck dick, but
yeah, it's like a little squiggly thing or something like that. Yeah. Okay, so not all things in the bird family don't have penises, but like, have you ever heard of a well-hung bald eagle? I've never heard of that. So anyhow, I don't.
Hey, they're making a rebound. They must have found some fertile fucker out there.
I don't think they had large penises. That would be my guess, and I think most experts would say the same. Although I'm certainly not an expert on dinosaur penises. Can we go back to the dick jokes for the first 30 minutes instead of
this actually occurred before you started talking about this, Derek, and then he goes, "Oh, I spoke too soon." Hunter, you know us too well.
Oh boy,
we got to bring it back in. We got to bring it back together, back to where we're normally at.
Yeah, that brought some levity, and I was thankful to read that. I didn't think anybody would ask a question like that, even on Reddit. Believe it or not, I thought that was kind of like, well, look that up yourself. I'm sure there is some research on dinosaur reproduction, right? Somewhere.
Yeah.
Philosophical questions from Brett about T-Rexes not being able to jack off.
Well,
yes, very.
I asked all the right questions today. I asked all the right questions. Jay Hernandez was brought up by a couple of not so good fans of his, saying that he's got a cult. We're all part of a cult. And I asked, are we going to get a fez or a decorative sash? And that was, in fact, the question that must have been asked. So
we are not in a cult. I can guarantee you. I would never be in a cult that would have me as a member. All right.
So
little Yogi Berra joke there. Does everybody know who Yogi? Do people
Yogi
know who he is? You think?
No. Boo-boo.
The very famous.
We've had this conversation before.
Yankees catcher.
No, we have not had this conversation before.
Yeah, he's one I'd never be in a club that would have me as a member. All kinds of famous quotes. Anyhow, he was back in the 50s, and he was the Yankees catcher. And then, anyhow, very famous figure. If you don't know him.
Split chat so far. We got Chris Scary says, "I do. Let's go Yankees." Hunter, famous catcher.
Yes.
And
okay.
John
good.
Says, I do. Hate him because he was on the Yankees.
Okay, if you guys know who he is, name some of his other famous jokes, or. They're always a twist like that. I'd never be
picnic basket.
No, he's not the bear, Greg. I mean,
Greg. Greg.
I haven't called you Greg for at least a year. At least a year, I haven't called you Greg. All right, little Greg on the mind there. All right, what else we got?
You had mentioned something that you mentioned the Reddit thing that dinosaurs jacking off, and that got you back into a jolly mood. Yes. I thought you were talking about. Holy shit! What the fuck am I looking at here? Let's go back to present share screen. They changed it on me. There we go. I thought you were talking about this. Jerry Aldini says many want him to change tactical manager. UN11 Yanks are a dangerous fringe group of the U.S. soccer fans. Triple G must return. I cannot wait to see your reactions.
All
so
right.
I put Tech in
Jerry.
a international man of mystery here.
Yeah.
Danger is my middle name.
Yeah, that's just Jerry's just a sad sack of fucking shit. I don't know what else to call him. He's just a sad sack of shit. To think that we are some sort of, or they are some sort of fringe group, then I mean, I guess to Jerry, you know, all kinds of groups are fringe groups, all kinds. Like, you know, people who work at Walmart, that's a fringe group. No, it's not. There are lots of people that work at Walmart. There are lots of people. Oh, man, people who are poor, they're a fringe group. No, that's actually a large percentage of the population, dumbass. And I would think, Jerry, if you looked around, there are probably a lot of people who disagree with you, but maybe you live in a bubble, or maybe you live in, like, you know, a safety zone where, you know, you don't like to listen to people who disagree with you, or actually have, you know, some pretty rational things to say. So anyhow, I'm just guessing Jerry's dumb. That would be my guess. He's probably pretty dumb.
You've started something, Derek.
I made it through about 1/2 a page on those toolbox killers. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, don't go any deeper. Don't go any deeper. I've been warned. Like that's why my original search started at Reddit. And that's where, like, never read the transcripts. Don't ever read that shit. You will be mentally fucking
scarred for life.
Yeah, scarred. You won't sleep for weeks. Don't do it. So I'm not doing that part. I just went to Wiki and read the, like, basics. But then that was so fucking horrible. It put me in a fucking mental health issue. Berlin says, I love how Brett's so shepherds Derek. Does Derek know it? Honest question. Yes, I do. I
very smoothly just push him in the right direction and give him a slight nudge, and then Derek's off on a rant for about 5 minutes, and then he starts winding down, and then I poke the bear and back at it again.
Yeah, I'm very aware that Brett is controlling the show, and then I'm a mere passenger screaming at the clouds. Yes.
Well, since we're talking about Berhalter coming back, I figure we might as well jump topics here.
Mm-hmm.
In the news, we have some Landon Donovan quotes.
God, why does Landon have to disappoint me with this? I don't know why he has to do this.
For those who haven't read it yet, Landon says, my opinion, after 4 years of building an identity and a style, is that a young group of players need continuity. I would keep Gregg and let him continue through the next World Cup, Donovan said on SD Radio Show.
But what kind of continuity are you getting? I mean, yes, they're young, but they have grown-up coaches at their clubs. It's not like they need to be babied by the same guy because it's continuity for continuity's sake. What if the continuity goes backwards? That's not so good either. That's still continuous, but it's in the wrong direction. And I think we've seen enough of Gregg. And I especially think he's already counted himself out because of his big blabbermouth. Whereas my grandfather used to say his blubbermule. Blubbermule. Mule means mouth in German. So, you know, I think Gregg's gone unless something is completely crazy at USSF. And I'm not putting that past them because they've been crazy before.
I think Tech words it properly here. Want to read that? Give that a read.
LD is in fact a U.S. men's national team legend and has given us what is arguably one of my favorite World Cup moments of all time. However, the past 2 years, his comments off the field have been horrendous, almost beyond repair on the Weston incident. Now, Keeper Berhalter, I have to agree with Tack. I don't know if they're horrendous. Those are two public comments I don't agree with. That's not a whole lot. You could stack Wallace's up to the ceiling.
Yeah, I mean, Weston skimped out on curfew. He skimped out on curfew, went clubbing. Berhalter betrayed the trust of the locker room by telling a story to a bunch of strangers and hoping that it was going to remain not leaked.
At a
off the record,
an immoral leadership conference.
So
he did that.
It's just very telling. I mean, why would what Weston did be almost beyond repair?
I don't know. I think he may have heard something that wasn't true, like that whole him plugging Pulisic sister thing. Well, that wasn't true. Well, that we know it's not. But you know, Donovan wasn't the only one opening mouth and inserting dumbness. foot. Yeah. And I was going to say dumbness because that's a dumb thing to say. Continuity is not the be all end all for improvement. There's nothing about what Gregg's doing that's stamping like this is going to get a lot better than this going forward on the team.
Yeah, and the identity and style that he mentions. But that seems to be more of a ingrained in all of USSF at this point.
Yeah, that's
required, Gregg.
Yeah.
In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they just go out and they find another yes men to continue playing my system.
I don't know who you're going to find to do that because a lot of guys don't. There's very few people that do that system, honestly.
Well, I mean, the players were able to learn from a PowerPoint, so I think the new coach, whoever they hire for Peanuts, could also learn it from a PowerPoint. Maybe Gregg would actually give him the PowerPoint and said, "Hey, this is what I've been teaching the guys. Clearly, it worked.
Let's keep it up." Yeah. So, but then this wasn't the only dumb thing.
Gregg's notes: bench best player, check.
No. Oh no.
Throw him under the bus. Check.
No, we're not getting on. We already did that part. So there were more dumb comments about Gregg.
No.
Yeah, by Lawless.
Really not. I don't have that one up, but I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, Lawless, who said, "Hey, I'm against any manager having 4 years as manager of the U.S. men's national
He's
team.
A one-cycle club member. Yay! He's joined us."
I'm like, wow, finally he said something rational. And then he goes back on it because he wants to spike the Reina family, like stick it to the Reinas.
Not only that, but also all the people that are siding more with the Reinas than with Berhalter, I guess. But
what is he, 12 years old? Lawless, are you 12?
Fuck those.
God damn, dude, grow up. Keep your opinion. Don't change it because you're like got the emotional resilience of a fucking 4-year-old girl.
So, ultimately, his argument is Gregg shouldn't have been denied the opportunity to be considered.
Yeah, but he just did that by saying he's got limited 4 years. So he
after 4 years. After 4 years, he shouldn't be hired again. I'm a one-cycle coach, but we should give him the opportunity. We should still consider him, but he shouldn't get it.
God damn, he's full of contradictions, that Lawless. And by the way, there is a point where having that many contradictions makes you look stupid, not smart. And I'm getting sick of his stupid tweets already. Hey, boys and girls, what are you thinking about today? Or whatever he says.
What's everybody yelling at? Hypocrisy, all that stuff. Yeah, Derek, you're a new person to Twitter, and you're just experiencing it.
That's annoying.
Don't get wound up. Don't get wound up by it. It's best not.
What's he say? What are we yelling at the clouds today, or something? Or I don't know. What things,
yeah.
He says it.
What are we yelling at? What are we screaming about? Yeah. You know, it gets some content. He can talk about.
No. The whole point of him saying that is that he's the calm and rational person. And everybody else are stupid and they're yelling and screaming like morons. So he's not like he's winning friends by saying that.
No, he's not.
That's a very belittling thing to say. It really is.
Well, you are. I normally don't call you out and stuff like this, but you are missing the point of it. The point of it is that people come and start bitching, or they start saying random shit like, "What do you think about this?" It's not necessarily calling people like, "What are we all? What you guys are idiots. What are you screaming about now?" It's just say, "Hey, here's the welcome hub. Come over here and talk." And then he converses back and forth with some people, or he makes it a point to quote tweet and call people out on some things. But no, it's just a shtick, if you will.
Sounds arrogant to me.
Sure. Sorry. No, he pisses people off. I guarantee if you go back through every day and you look at that comment section, I guarantee you're going to find somebody new that says, "You're an asshole, I don't like you," or something like that. And he's just like, "Nah. We all have our preferences," stuff like that.
Well, I'm glad he's confident in his arrogance. That's good.
He's making money with Fox. What does he care?
Maybe he wants to keep his job. I mean, look at his YouTube posts on. Nobody watches that shit, and his name's Lexi Lawless.
It's questionable because a lot of people do this. A lot of the previous former players do this, where they post stuff on YouTube and they don't get quite the traction you would expect. But I also wonder how much they draw in on their actual podcast. like
No.
whatever series.
Well, I'm sure it's better than YouTube. It better be.
Fingers crossed for them.
He's got no audience whatsoever. So it better be better on his podcast.
I guess since we're talking about YouTubers, that kind of we're jumping around topics here, but we might as well talk about this because it correlates. Our good friend Berlin had a question.
All right. Question was right card.
Before we get to that, read the original one.
I'm pretty sure the worst thing that could happen to our beloved YouTubers is the USSF rehires Berhalter. Probably a quarter of the U.S. men's national team hardcores would no longer watch the U.S. men's national team videos. Of course, still watch Yanks abroad, etc. I hope #fire the turd is not that smart. I don't know. I mean, depends on who he hires. I think people will be really fucking hyped up and excited if it's a good person. Although I have to say that Jimmy show that they were talking about pining, quote, for Yogi Love. And I'm like, why? He was horrible with the German national team his last number of years. And he's a booger eater. I mean, okay, I'll take a booger eater if I see that he has this history in the last number of years with his national team of being awesome. But the game had sort of passed Yogi Love by. I don't know. To me, he looked like lost, and his teams looked lost for the last number of years of his leadership. So I'm not really that bought. I'm sure he's better than Gregg. Yes. But then you got to take the butt picking, butt sniffing, armpit sniffing, booger eating. That shit's not going to go over well in the United States. People don't like that. That's gross. I'll give Gregg one thing. He's clean. He doesn't eat his boogers. Doesn't pick his ass in front of the crowd. He's conscious of his cleanliness.
It's funny you're talking about possible coaches.
That ain't happening.
There's some quotes in here where he talks about it, but I wouldn't want that.
I don't think that's a good idea.
We're still a very young squad.
I mean, you want that cynical motherfucker coaching this team? I don't know. It's not like Marino has a long history of working and developing young players. It's the same guy who shipped away a bunch of young players when he was at Chelsea, and they became superstars on other teams. So I don't know.
My initial response to Berlin on the first quote, we'll get to the second point up here, was that, you know what? It might actually be really good for content if Berhalter gets rehired. And it might actually grow and develop the community that we serve, the fringe, dangerous community, if you will. Having another cycle with Berhalter at the helm. Think about all the videos of just us saying, dude, what the fuck? It's 6 years into his tenure. He hasn't fucking learned this. So it's questionable. I don't want. I told him also. I'm like, I would much rather us lose hits on YouTube and us also get a new coach.
Yeah, I would rather a new coach.
I'll take the hit. You're welcome, by the way, you guys.
Yeah, I don't have a gerbil analogy on this one. Sorry, Berlin, but I'll think of one. I'm sure coming up. No gerbils were harmed
but he
in
goes,
the show.
I don't think it. Is that how you pronounce that? I guess.
Gerbil.
Is it gerbil?
Yeah. You know, I mean, it has an I in it. It's gerbil, I believe, Gerbil. But I think he's talking about.
I don't think he's talking about the animal. I think he's talking about a person name, whatever that is pronounced. Garabel or whatever the fuck.
I don't know who that is.
Berlin, hook us up. I'm not. I'll take a look in the chat for you on this one. But I thought that he's referring to some form of like I don't know if that helps you any.
Head body?
There we go.
Oh, Goebbels. Well, it's not spelled that way. Goebbels isn't spelled that way. But all right. So he's talking about Goebbels.
Let's read the entire thing here. It goes. You want to start with that part right there?
YouTubers are a growing legitimate threat to our wicked USSF establishment. From the U.S. Federation perspective, would it not be best to retard the head of and fatten the body? You guys have some sort of Goebbels analogy about the fans. I can tell you this. U.S. soccer does not have anybody nearly as effective as Goebbels, as much as I despise, obviously, Goebbels.
Is that really how you spell it?
Yes.
And it's pronounced Goebbels?
Yes. Joseph Goebbels? You never heard of this guy?
No,
I'm sorry.
I'm looking at the pronunciation of the last name. I'm not even talking about the person itself.
Yes, it's Goebbels.
I'm with Berlin on this. That's exactly how I would have spelled it too. Because how the fuck do you get an R sound anywhere in that name?
There is no R sound. It's Goebbels.
I'm hearing the fucking R. There's an R in there. Goebbels. Yes.
Oh my God. All right.
Okay, well, we have BMR saying that's not how it's pronounced.
It's not pronounced Goebbels? I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. It's
I've been studying history for 35 years. I'm pretty sure it's
Goey
Bells.
Bells.
It's not good. It's good. I mean, you
Goey Bells.
Goebbels. Okay, if you're German, you do Goebbels. But in the United States, it's just pronounced Goebbels. That's how it's pronounced. I'm sorry. That's how everyone pronounces it in the United States for the most part, if you are a historian. All right, enough of this shit.
Yeah.
I do not want to start talking about Goebbels. That could get us blocked anyhow, because he was a super asshole.
Oh, now we got a Derek is right.
Thank you, Thomas.
So I don't know anymore. People are pronouncing it like this.
Gerbils. Now that's what I thought he was meant to say, gerbils. And I'm like, what is he, like butt sex or butt things?
hey, both would actually work. It's kind of funny because I was talking about the whole Zendejas being cap tied to the United States, and we'll get into this later, guys. But I kept typing in cap tied, and it kept coming in as captured. And it was probably like 3 or 4 posts into it saying Zendejas has been captured by the United States soccer team. And I'm like, I realized I did that. I'm like, oh shit, that's supposed to be cap tied. Maybe Freud was right.
All right.
Goodness.
Next.
Oh, Derek, did you hear who won the U.S. Men's Youth Player of the Year?
Wow, this is going to be really hard.
So tough. You got a U.S. national team player, also playing first team in Spain, versus a bunch of kids who are barely getting playing time in the U.S. and MLS.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking a man versus boys.
Here we go.
It's Musa.
He logged the most minutes as a teenager in the United States national team history. Now Yunus Musa is your 2022 Chipotle Tweets Young Male Player of the Year. Congrats. Nobody was surprised at Tim Reed.
Oh, yeah, right. The crazy thing about it is that Chipotle sponsors this award, and I can't figure out why. Like, their logo's really small on it, and it's barely noticeable, which is fine with me because I'm not into Chipotle. I think they suck, but that's just me. I know we've had this argument before. But,
I'm not saying, we have had this argument before, and it's been a split room too.
Yeah. So we'll move on from Chipotle. Good. Congratulations, Eunice. I do want to say RIP to Antoine Walks, who did die recently. As far as I understand it, it was some sort of boating accident. I don't think
accident.
Boating with a B. Boating. There's no voting going on right now. So I don't know.
Apparently you pulled the wrong lever.
Jesus. Brett, this is not something that's funny. The dude died.
No, it's not.
All right.
No, I agree. All right. No, it's not definitely not cool.
I mean, I didn't know him. I know the teams he played for. Some of them, I think I remember when he was at Atlanta or whatever. There are no details on his death, but he's a young guy. He's like, 25 years old? Dude,
26, I think.
Yeah, you shouldn't be dying at that age.
No, fuck no.
That's bullshit. Anyhow, we are all going to die, but 25? Shit, your life's just starting. To the fans from when they started the can't spell Musa without USA thing through qualifiers in the World Cup, I feel like the fans have been behind me for so long, since before I even did anything in football. The fans of the U.S. men's national team are great, and I love them. Well, Eunice is a good guy. I mean, listen, Brendan Aaronson even said he's the nicest guy on the team.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, bro guy told him that.
Yeah, he said, bro.
I think
it's
say Musa.
I think it's you.
Yeah.
Who's the nicest guy on the team? Bro, I think it's you.
I don't know. It's got to be up there with Tim Ream, but I think at the time Tim Ream was not in the picture. But yeah, no, I brought this up because this is such a great approach to handling things with the fan base. Instead of just saying, I like to think this, and this, whatever, and move on. He addressed the fact that the fan base has been behind him and that's helped him, move forward in his career, not just with the United States, I imagine, but everywhere else. But the fact that he's got a toxic fan base supporting him. That's the thing everybody's going with. But I heard the fandom was toxic.
Fringe support. Fringe support.
Oh,
that's what that is.
We're minute. That's right.
Fringe. We're fringe. That's Pete and Tack. Fringe.
Shame.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyhow, as I said, that guy is dumb. All right.
Yeah.
Low IQ. Where are we headed next?
We got some. Unless you got anything else, we got some Yanks abroad midweeks.
Did we talk about Beasley and Foudy yet?
We haven't. We should have brought that up when we talked about Berhalter. But yeah, we can jump back.
That's
to that.
true. I just in juxtaposition of Lawless's stupidity and Landon Dominant's brief dumbness. DeMarcus Beasley said he's lost his locker room. He's got to go, and I'd agree. And so does Julie agrees. Yes.
Give me 1 second.
Oh, by the way, while you're doing that, David Crosby died today. If you don't know him from Crosby, Stills, and Nash, he died. And I'm sorry he died. I mean, great musician and all. I think a lot of his colleagues have said some pretty nasty things about him in the last 10 to 15 years about how big of a dick he is.
It's funny how that happens.
But yeah, nobody's calling him a dick today.
Well,
so that's
I'm actually honestly surprised. Twitter usually tries to cancel people after they die.
Yeah.
Oh, where are you at?
What are you looking for?
This right here. Oh, nope, I got to pull up mine. Hold on.
It's the Goebbels slide. Is that the one you're looking for?
Yeah, that's it.
Beasley.
Okay. So here's Beasley's quote. It's a bad situation. Berhalter lost the locker room. He lost the trust in his players while making clear that he considers Reyna's out of order as well. Everything about the situation stinks. And
well, Charles would know. I'm sorry. Charles would know some of that stuff.
Well,
right?
This is also he's quoting Beasley.
Right. But Charles knows something about that too. And I'm just saying Beasley would seriously know something about it because he's in touch with a lot of those players. Like he's still in touch with them. Did Berhalter lose the locker room? Yes, he did, Joseph. He did. Look at all the leaks from like 8 different players' agents. Yes. Now, he's the same agent for all those 8 players, but they didn't tell him not to do that. And he basically leaked and said, there's a whole group of players out there that don't want him back. They don't think he's ready for the next step. And they didn't throw him under the bus for the Reyna thing, but they were not. They just have serious doubts about his ability to take the team forward.
I will say that Beasley came back out, I think earlier today, and said that, hey, what I said on air are my opinions and my opinions only of what I've experienced and what I've been told, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Basically not saying that he thinks personally or whatever, but he's like, hey, he lost the locker room, et cetera. But
my response personally, he does think this personally, so I don't like that recantation.
He kind of goes back because I'm sure that again the fan base is split, quite frankly. My response to Joseph.
If Bees is going to have an opinion, he needs to stand by it. You don't go on Julie Foudy's show, drop something like that, and go, well, it's not like my personal opinion. It's just what I think.
No, he said it was his personal opinion. He goes, it was just what I said was my opinion only. My guess is maybe he didn't want what he was saying to be construed for everybody else, type of thing. I don't know.
What does that mean?
I can go and find it so you can read it itself. Let me finish this point. I'm just saying,
it's his opinion. No shit, you just came out of your mouth, Beasley. We know it's your opinion. I don't understand.
I'll pull it up. You can read it, and maybe I'm misquoting it, but here we go. My response was Beasley wasn't the first, nor the last former player to say Berhalter's leaked speech betrayed the trust of the locker room. Trust is paramount.
Paramount Plus.
Hey. All right. Marcus Beasley.
Oh, now you're going to look up his quote, his recantation of his opinion, sort of, or not. I mean, he's just trying to dabble in this, and then like, hey, don't come after me, man. That was just my opinion. Well, no shit, it's your opinion, dude. You know that.
Here we go.
Come on.
Says, to add to the comment from yesterday, those were my opinions and my experiences I've personally had when a new coach was being talked about. I didn't add that part yesterday. None was based on conversations.
Oh, well, shit. Then he's saying I haven't had that conversation. Then, okay, that's a good question. The other guy has a legit question for Bees then, because if that guy asked me that question, I have an answer for him. But Beasley's like, I don't know shit. It's my opinion that he lost the locker room.
Well, yeah, my take from all of this is the same thing that everybody else has said, whether it was Lawless, whether it's been, Jimmy and company, all of the former players basically saying that Berhalter stepped over the line and betrayed the trust of the locker room. What happens in the locker room stays in the locker room type of thing.
Okay.
Now, Beasley is adding that that's his personal take on it. He may not be basing it off of anything that he's heard.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's a co-Hoosier with us here, so I'm not saying anything bad about the Bees. He's a legend, and I know friends. I have friends that know him, so I don't want to piss him off. But that's not why I'm criticizing what he's saying. I just don't really understand why he had to say it. That's all. I don't understand why he had to clarify.
There's nothing in that quote in that tweet that really made any difference, in my opinion. It all amounts to the exact same thing.
But when he's talking to Judy, he might have said that, or Julie, excuse me, and said, "Listen, I haven't talked to anybody in the locker room, but this, based on what Gregg did at the immoral leadership conference, that's enough for me to believe he's probably lost it, the locker room." Like, that would have been better clarification. But anyhow, that's it. That's small crackers. All right, what else we got? We want to get to the topic, or are we still?
No, I already mentioned what we have next.
We're still bouncing around.
We got midweeks abroad. Sorry, here we go.
Okay, takes. U.S. men's national team international Weston McKennie for Juventus today. 90 minutes, 1 assist, 2 chances created, 100% accurate crosses. 100%. Well, he only did one, I guess.
He may have only had the one. Yeah, exactly.
3/4 and accurate long balls, 2 dribbles completed, 4 duels won, 3 ball recoveries, 7.4 on foot mob. I wouldn't get foot mob the day of time normally, but I mean, I haven't got a chance to rewatch it yet. So on the replay, so I really can't comment on it. It looks like, he had a pretty good day. They beat Monza. Is that correct? They did beat Monza, right?
2-1. 2-1.
I think I looked that up earlier today.
2-1.
So I did check it out. I just haven't, between work and the time we do the show, had the chance to watch the replay yet. So I'm gonna have to get to that. I just finally finished watching the Leeds Wednesday game yesterday. So there's
is that another next? No. Here we are. Since you mentioned Leeds.
Okay, Adams versus Cardiff today, 45 minutes. 45 minutes? Does he only play 45 minutes?
Did he only play 45 minutes?
I didn't remember him getting yanked that soon. I thought he played the second half as well. Okay, I don't know. I thought the yanking started a little later than that. All right, 100% tackles won, 84% passing accuracy, 100% ground duels won, 2 interceptions, 6 ball recoveries. And now I'm going to have to rewatch it again because I didn't notice Adams leaving that early. But he had a great game. I really like, and I know Tack keeps saying, well, he lacks technical passing ability, but he made some really good passes in that game. And I think I'm not saying Tack's wrong. I don't think it's as bad as Tack is making it out to be. I think, yes, does he pass it backwards and sideways too much? Yes, but that's sort of his role on the team. He lets Roca do most of the forward passing. But, boy, when you give him an opportunity and if he lifts his head, he's really able to make that change the field pass and on occasion some through passes. So, I don't know. I don't think it's that bad, honestly. That's just me. Irate. Adam's higher, I think, than Tack does. And we can have a debate about that, but it's going to be so nuanced. It's, we're going to be like using stats and shit. Look at all doesn't make that many forward passes. Look at
X's.
Yeah. He's got no XG. Well, wait. Anyhow, we won't get into that.
Oddly enough, in the timeline of the Leeds match, it doesn't specify Adams leaving at all.
No, he does leave because he.
I know. I'm just saying. Yeah, the timeline, and I mean, I know that it's just
because later in the game, Nanto and him are like having a fucking laugh on the sideline or on the benches together, and shit, god damn it, I can't get out of this. Oh, iCloud wants to do an update right now on my phone. Right now.
Of course.
Oh, fuck off, iCloud. Suck my balls. Why does it just tell me, like, hey, this is iCloud. We'd like to do an update. Would you like to do it tomorrow at 1 a.m.? Yes. Okay. No, that's fine. 1 a.m. is good. Not now. Not in the middle of fucking day, you dumbasses. Or then at this point.
Here we go. I mean, somebody may have mentioned this that time. I was trying to look through the timeline, but Dan W. does say Adams and Rodrigo were subbed off at halftime.
Really? I remember Rodrigo going. I don't remember Adams. I don't know why. Of course, it was sort of a one-sided game at that point. Maybe I just didn't notice. I was really hoping when Aaronson came on, he would like maybe score a goal or get an assist or get out of his funk because he's in a funk right now. And or is it a funk? I don't know. If this continues, I'm going to start to think maybe this isn't a funk. Maybe we just hurt. We're seeing Aaronson hit a ceiling. I hope that's not true because he could lift some weights and fix half of his problem within the next 3 months. Just get out there, lift some weights, put on some strength, so you're not falling over.
To fucking learn how to shoot a ball.
That too. Fucking.
That's the most frustrating thing about this game for me. Being a former striker, that's what's frustrating. Is like that's something he can fix.
Yep.
You can fix that. You may not be the best striker. You might not be the best shooter in the world, but you can at least fix the fact that you can place a ball from 8 to 12 yards out into a corner of a net.
And he needs to stop playing all the time like he's on crack. And sometimes you need to take a little bit break, lift your head, slow the game down, control the pace of the game. You don't have to go full fucking blitz 100% of the time. Now, maybe Jesse's telling him to do that. I don't know if he is Jesse's dumbass, but I doubt it. I just don't see it because other players had the option to settle it and lift their head and look for a pass. But it doesn't ever seem like Aaronson's first instinct is, oh, I got the ball. I'm attacking. Get out of my fucking way. And then he falls over and loses possession. So he needs to fix that shit. He needs to calm the fuck down. And
he seems more along the lines of the type of player that receives the ball, whether under pressure or not, but acts like he's under pressure.
Yes.
Takes a couple touches backwards, but then back into the center and turns, and then looks to distribute out. But what he doesn't look when he turns, because there have been a number of times, especially before the World Cup, where he's had clear-cut opportunities where he can shoot. He just doesn't fucking shoot the ball.
Right.
It's like he's always trying to look for that. I want to slot that ball through, and I don't know why it's a tendency of nowadays for players that want to get, or at least maybe it's just USA players for all I know, that want to make sure they try to get that ball to the 6. So it's an easy tap in. When in fact you can shoot the ball. Yeah, at least 18 plus. Come on, guys.
You're on the 18. Give it a hammer, dude. And by the way, most of the guys making the runs are probably offsides anyhow. So just hammer the fucking ball. Well, as you said, he doesn't really have a great shot. So that's something he can work on, and he can work on building his upper body and his lower body strength.
He was striker for a manager. If I was Jesse, that'd be the first thing I'd notice with him. Like, dude, why aren't you fucking shooting the ball? You can't shoot the ball? All right, well, 10 minutes every practice, 20 minutes every practice. You're just doing nothing but shooting drills.
Well, how about when he came in to take his physical for Leeds and he took off his shirt? You're like, damn, dude, you're a skinny little fuck.
Count all the bones. There's all 206 of them right there.
Dude, you need to put on some fucking muscle, dude. Come on. I got more muscle than you, and I'm a 51-year-old man. But that's just because I haven't lost all of it yet. That's why. All right, anyhow. He'd probably kick my ass. No, he wouldn't. Because I can still wrestle. Well, if he hit me in the knees, I'd be a goner. All right. See, mean, if you
as
knew
we found
that,
out in Roadhouse, Derek, if you anybody in the knees, they're a goner. He can be the biggest guy out there. If you hit him in the knee, he'll drop like a baby or whatever.
Greg,
Drop
Greg
like
knows.
a baby.
Greg knows all about it.
He's worked through that time of his life. He's no longer there. He's mentally.
That's right.
He's not there anymore.
He no longer kicks people.
Not at all.
All right. What else we got?
Chris Richards.
Oh, Chris Richards. I'm not going through all these stats.
You can go through them or not go through them. People can read the screen.
Yeah, here are the stats. Read them yourself. He had a good game. That's nice. I'm glad he did. It's one game. Nobody should be getting too excited and jizzing all over the room. Let's give him some time. Yes, it was against a good team. I get it. But it's one game, and I mean, some people are saying he should have been called up for the World Cup team because of this. No, dude, he was injured.
He was injured, yeah. So I had the same. We had an argument on Twitter with some people about Luca De La Torre as being an option. Should have been an option off the bench during the World Cup. And
well, that's true. He should have been.
No, but I brought up the point that even he, like leading up, like days before the roster was announced, was in question of whether or not he was going to be on the roster because he was just recovering from an injury.
Yeah.
So yeah, people say like, he should have been in the Richard should have been there. No, he was injured.
Yeah, he was injured. If anything, EPB or Trusty or somebody else could have been there instead of fucking Aaron Long. That's for sure. By the way, the beer of the night is Golden Drac, one of the best, if not the best beer in the world. It's delicious.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's a couple of videos going around on the Twitters about with Chris Richards making recovery runs and
I'm happy for him.
Doing really well. Manager came out and said, "Hey, he had a good game. I thought he played really well, and now he just needs to find more playing time." So
yeah,
maybe that's
I like the coach. He's like, he had a great game, but he'll be back on the bench next game. That's basically what he said.
We just need to find him some games. And it's like, yeah, well, I mean, he just played a pretty big game there. I mean,
you're the coach. You can find him some games if you want to find him some games. But he's basically saying, yeah, I mean, that was good, but it's Premier League, and we're not ready to start this dude yet. All right, what else we got?
Way through. One last yank abroad here. Yunus.
Okay.
He was playing. He had 16 minutes. Looks like he had a pretty good solid game as well.
Yep.
The problem with all these games, and I just don't go back. It's like my workout regimen. I have all these plans to come home and do all this shit, and then I come home and I do all the shit I have to do, and I'm like 8 o'clock rolls around. I'm like, I don't feel like doing shit.
Yeah.
So, it's the same thing with the games. Like I would probably go. Normally I would go back and watch Juventus play today, but 8 o'clock rolls around and I'm just like, I just feel like throwing on something on YouTube and my brain shutting off.
Sometimes it is easier to watch the highlights, but
you miss a shit ton there though. But
I try to squeeze as many of these games in as possible. Trust me, folks. But midweek games are hard because you come home from work. We've got a show on Monday. We've got a show on Thursday. I got game night on Tuesday with my kids. And I mean, that leaves me very little time to squeeze in some of these games. So,
we need to figure out time for you to come and get your FIFA game. I started loading that up and I realized that my Xbox hasn't been turned on for 2 years. So I had to set it back to factory settings. and then I put, we had the physical game. This is what boggles my mind about games nowadays. I mean, I know that they're massive and you can't just, whatever. But I put it in. I'm ready to play, and then it's got to install. I'm like, what am I installing here? I've got the fucking game. But whatever.
The disc ain't shit anymore.
So I put the game in. I watch a little YouTube, and all of a sudden I get the notification. Hey, FIFA is ready to play. So I jump on it, and I realize that I can only do the training and I can do practice matches because the full game hasn't installed.
That's right. Yeah.
I was like, God damn it. So I started playing and I was like, man, because I've been a pro Evo guy for like the last decade. And I'm like, man, this game seems slow.
Oh boy. All right.
Guys just running around slowly.
Huh. Maybe you'll need to set the setup and move it up to a higher level. Maybe they move faster. I don't know. Not played 23 yet. Yep.
Yeah.
Last one I played was 21. So we'll see. I skipped 22.
So everybody in the chat, we got 97 people watching. Derek and I both have FIFA 23 right now. We both have the early.
Well, I don't have it yet. It's at your house.
Yeah, it's my house. I've got arguably probably the original Xbox One that came the first one off the ship.
Nice.
Derek's got an Xbox One X, but it's not the Generation X or whatever, the Series X or whatever. So if you have an original Xbox One or an S or an X series and FIFA 23, you can play
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let me know, guys. DM me on Twitter. Let us know somehow if you're interested, and we will probably plan to try to get some games in.
Yep. All right. Sounds
Build
cool.
that content too. Yeah. So we have to do that.
So let's move on to topic at hand, right? We got to do the U20s first.
I want to bring up the U20s. It's not going to be a lot to talk about, really. But I want to bring it up because, as you well know, you may well know, Derek. I don't know if you know this or not, but the current U20 coach, Mikey Vargas, is going to be the assistant coach for the United States national team for this window.
Right.
Well, then who's going to coach the U20s?
I don't know, but I would guess that he would still be able to do the U20s.
Nope. These camps are coincide the same time frame. U.S. men's national team is off in California. The U20s are in Florida.
I have no idea who's going to coach them then.
The U17 head coach, Segaris.
Oh, they just moved him on up, huh?
Moved him on up. So I guess my question for one is why? Why is Mikey with the national team and Sega has to go play or coach the U20s? Why not? I don't think that Mikey even needs to be with the national team. Why not keep him with the U20s and bring Sega to this national team? Why mix it up? Doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of stupid.
Mikey has a lot more experience with this group, or some of the group, not all of them, obviously, but some of them, than does the U17 coach. So in some ways it makes sense. I don't think it really matters. I don't think it matters.
It's just honestly. It's stupid. We're like
we're all playing Gregg's system.
We're 4 to 5 months. We're 4 to 5 months out of the U20 World Cup. Limited camps going forward. Why would you not keep the U20 manager with the U20 team?
Because U20 World Cup's really not that important in the scheme of things.
That's his job. That's what he's supposed to do. Why?
Well, the USF decides what his job is.
Buttercup is what you've deemed it this time. Can't Buttercup? Does that mean more or less in the World Cup? U20 World Cup.
No, that's pretty unimportant as well.
All
this is pretty unimportant because out of the U20 teams, usually you'll get 2 or 3 players that end up making some sort of, the whole idea that we had a lot more than usual, with the Pulisic generation is rare. It's very rare.
Well, hell, we have two of the U20s in with the seniors right now, with Paxton and Slonina.
And when I say it's unimportant, I don't really mean that it's not important. I just think that it's not like life or death or really like we're hanging on the edge here or anything like that. It's just not going to be predeterminative of a whole lot of things. It's not going to make
but I mean, obviously it's important. It's important to the players, and it's important. It's nice to see us do well. Period. I'm just saying, why pull the U20 coach who's been running the last, well, I guess handful of months. I mean, it hasn't really been that long.
Is he going to coach the World Cup?
Yeah.
All right, then.
I imagine. Yeah. Why wouldn't he?
They're fine. This is camp. It's just camp. What are you talking about? Practice? It's camp.
My point is, why even make the change? Why even bring him up and then push Sega up to the U20s?
I told you why. Mikey's been with the big boy team already before.
It's an assistant coach for Camp Buttercup. I'm sticking with your narrative here. Camp Buttercup.
I agree.
I don't think he needs to be there.
Probably not.
Well.
I don't know. They make dumb decisions.
I'm just going to scroll through these.
And they don't explain why.
Well, I guess while we're goalkeepers. It's a shame we're not seeing Chris Brady here, but he is probably the contender for the goalkeeper for Chicago moving forward this year. So that's probably why he's not here.
Yep.
Sucks and it's good. It's good that he's going to be most likely the starter.
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, he gets called in for the U20s. Nothing really special about the defense or nobody missing. I mean, anybody who's missing is with the senior, basically. So I'm not even concerned.
Yeah.
Midfield's all the same, except for the players that are missing for the missing reasons.
Yeah, Alvarado's back. That's nice.
Caden Clark missed out on the senior national team call-up, and he's back with the U20s.
Deservedly.
Well, Cade Cowell's there, so.
What's he done lately?
Who, Cade Cowell or Clark?
At least Cowell plays.
Yeah,
Clark doesn't play.
Fair enough.
Clark doesn't play.
Obviously, we're missing Brian Gutierrez here, too, in my opinion. But Brian Gutierrez is also going to be a contender for a starter spot for Chicago, so that's probably why he's not here.
Nope. Yeah, I've already got the reports. Chicago refused to release him.
Okay, well, that's just being my point then, basically.
They refused to release him. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, why? I mean, if he's going to be him and Brady, if they're both going to be contenders for starting spots for the Chicago team at that point, why would you release him to a U20 window? Just random games.
And listen, how many of these U20s are actually going to make the U20 team? We don't really know yet.
Well, I will say there's a lot of consistency in this roster.
Some of it, okay, go back to the page you were just looking at.
Page, yeah. Caden
Clark. You got Quinn Sullivan. Tyler Wolf makes it on the team because he's related to his dad. Caden Clark is on this team because he's not good enough for the fucking big boy team and not good enough for Leipzig either. They're going to find that out real fast. And then if we go back, other than that, who the fuck's rolled Mitchell? Really? Honestly? No. You know anything about him?
No,
I don't.
Who's
Correda Osudini? Osundina. I don't know who he is. I don't watch the fucking Orange County team, so I don't know. I mean, some of these people we've never heard of before, hardly. So this is like the U20 Camp Cupcake team, right? That's what this is.
Sure.
Okay. There's Jack McGlynn. We know him. We know Leva. We know Alvarado. We know Luna. I'd like to see Luna maybe play the big boy team, but
I was gonna say, where's the other
Zachary's?
Kid? Where's the other Seattle kid? What am I speaking his name?
What the fuck? Owen Wolf's on this team too. Owen Wolf's on this team.
Yeah.
You got both Wolf brothers. Seriously? Both of them?
They needed another midfielder, so why not?
Dude, this sniffs of something rotten. All right. What else? Back it up. Craig, good. Cuevas, good. Furcuranus, fantastic.
Always fun to hear. Yeah.
Caleb Wiley. A lot of people think Winder should have been on the big boy club, and Long should have gone taking a big drive off a cliff somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's bouncing off to LA. I mean, he's got a new team. He should probably be with that new team's preseason, I imagine. My initial stance on all this was the Camp Buttercup should have just been a U20, U23 call up, plus any fringe that you pull, people you're pulling from abroad. I don't know how old is Aaronson?
There aren't many of them because you're not going to pull many. Just the Scandi guys.
No, I mean, we brought in Slonina, who's not going to make first team by any means. We brought in Aaronson, who's not going to be first team by any means. So, I mean, I guess if you go that route, but
some people were like, "Oh, I'm really kind of disappointed to see Paxton Aaronson on the team." Why? Because you thought he's going to actually start or be on the bench for this early?
Yeah,
no, they don't need him. They don't need him.
Well, we're talking about a window that's
need him.
We're talking about a window that's like a week, week and a half at most. It's not like he's going to be out for an entire month.
Dude, the kid couldn't play for Philadelphia. You want him to now be on the bench for Eintracht Frankfurt this soon? That ain't happening. That's not happening.
The first time that an MLS coach misused a player or didn't use or didn't
well, and that
player.
If we actually get to the actual theme of the show,
here we are.
Let's do it. And we talk about Sam Rogers. You know, I have to disagree with Pete on this because Pete's like, the dude was an MLS failure. We don't know that because guess what? We've heard that like MLS teams weren't interested in Pulisic. Okay, so I mean, do we really know that Sam Rogers was an MLS reject? He might be a reject, but that doesn't mean that he can't develop and become a really good player. And I think he's gone to Rosenborg, and yeah, okay, it's a small club in the scheme of things, and it's probably not a league that's not better than MLS. I get it, but he's played well, and I think he's developed as a player. So I'm not ready to write Sam Rogers off. I'm not. So we'll get to that. I think the goalkeepers.
I'm in a brain fart here. The Gladbach kid. Why am I spacing his name right now?
You talking about Scally?
Thank you, Scally.
Okay.
I mean, he wasn't you can't necessarily claim his MLS career was success by any means.
No, he didn't play for Gladbach. But
how often did not for Gladbach? You mean for New York?
I mean for New York.
How much did Harrison play for New York?
A lot.
You did play a lot? Okay.
He played a shitload. He was a starter. So it doesn't always translate, but in this case, Paxton Aaronson is simply a player that's way behind Brendan Aaronson. And Brendan Aaronson's having a rough ride right now. Paxton's not ready for Eintracht Frankfurt. If he's not even close to being ready, because at least Scally did get some playing time for New York. But Paxton Aaronson barely got to play. 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there. It wasn't good. So it's going to take him a while.
I thought we had this debate before, and I thought it was more than just the little amount that you allude to. But I'm not saying he's a regular starter by any means.
Games, he got a little bit more, but that's about it. I mean, as far as I remember, but he's definitely was nowhere near the starting sheet for Philadelphia.
Oh, no, I'm not saying starter by any means. He pulled like 413 minutes last season.
Yeah, that's horrible.
And he was within the MLS Next Pro too.
Yeah, horrible. And now he's playing for you. People are surprised he's not going to be on the bench for Frankfurt. Don't be surprised. Goalkeepers here are fine. Sean Johnson is the vet. He's going to be making sure that the two balls, one to the left and one to the right, are acting professional, are watching him be professional. Is it true that Paxton Aaronson has more upside than Brendan? I used to think that, and I don't think it anymore. But he might have a better shot than his brother, but he's just as skinny, and he's just as underdeveloped upper body and lower body wise. So I think he might be a little more calm.
Yeah, but building some muscle mass is a doable thing within a couple of months.
Okay, it's doable. Then why is fucking Brendan Aaronson still such a skinny fucking scarecrow? If it's doable,
maybe Philly
no one's told him to put on some pounds?
Maybe not. Maybe Philly doesn't. Maybe they don't have a huge, massive workout regimen planned for.
Nobody at Salzburg said, dude, you're like a stick. Put on.
Are you talking about Brendan? Pounds. Sorry, no, I'm back to Paxton, but yeah.
So to me, that's just like a commitment. Like, look at Pulisic.
Oh, Brendan seemed to do okay at Salzburg without the upper body mass. I'm not saying a couple pounds upper body would have made a difference, but
it's not as physical of a league.
Sure,
the EPL
100% agree with you on that one.
Yeah. EPL will pound you into the ground. Just ask Christian Pulisic, who, by the way, did put on a lot of muscle and did put on some. He's definitely, since he got there, he's got a lot more. What do they call that? Definition, right?
Let's see what happens to Brendan moving forward. Maybe this is a learning curve for him. And
maybe it's a wake up call.
I better hit those weights.
Well, every Leeds fan is saying it on all the social media. So I think if he's not getting the picture at this point, then he's just not going to get it. Defenders, Jonathan Gomez. That's cool. Dude, listen, I guess it's better to have him on there than not to have him on there, even though he's stuck with Sociedad B. And it doesn't really look like, even at 18, 19, like he's anywhere near the big boy team. And it doesn't look like they have much high thoughts of him. If they're like, yeah, we really don't even need you on the B team. Why don't you just go ahead and do that thing with the U.S. January cupcake team? Like they're basically saying on the B team, he's not essential. And I don't know if that's worrisome or bad thing or a good thing that he's with us.
I know he's gonna be with the U20s this summer too. So
Julian Gressel, whatever, dude. I mean, if he was an American citizen 5 years ago, that would have been nice. But the dude's like, what's he, 27, 28?
that one, I don't know.
He's fucking old. All right. There's no point in having him on this team, except for maybe to just say, hey, you got your American citizenship. Great.
Okay, he is 29.
Yeah, that's old as fuck, dude. And he's a left back. So I guess they just want to try out every left back in the world. Like, you got Gomez.
We don't have a left back besides Robinson.
I get it. You got Gomez. You got Gressel on there. You got Tolkien on there. I mean, that's a lot of left backs. You got one right back, DeJuan Jones. I don't know. It's like the opposite extreme of the actual national team. And I get it. Maybe you want to test some left backs. But I don't think DeJuan Jones has shown that he's going to be – he's older too. Like, he's going to suddenly, grow an extra testicle or become technically adept overnight. That's not happening. That seemed like kind of a wasted call-up to me, as does Gressel. I get Gomez. I get Tolkien. I do not get Aaron Long. Get him the fuck off this fucking roster.
DeJuan Jones is 25, but yeah.
That's looking pretty – I don't know. Listen.
He is who he is at this point.
Yeah, he's not going to be any different. Like, he's not going to suddenly wake up 2 seasons from now and suddenly become this magical left back. It's just not happening. Moore wasn't called up basically because he...
Why the fuck would he need to be?
Yeah, but usually you'd think if Gregg had any influence on this call-up, which I think he did, I'm sure this list was created months ago, that he'd be on here, but apparently his team wouldn't let him go either. So there's that. Jalen Neal, I know very little about Jalen Neal, but I'll take a Jalen Neal who I know nothing about over fucking Aaron Long. You got to be fucking – listen, you already have the veteran for the back four. That's Zimmerman. Leave Long out of this.
LA boys, isn't he?
Who?
Neal?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I know they came out and they flat out stated that Neal's going to have to step it up this year. He's going to be competing against 3 or 4 veteran center backs anyways. But he's going to have to step it up this year.
He needs to put on some weight too. But Aaron Long, this is just the biggest waste of a fucking defender pick I can possibly imagine. We already talked about. Like I said,
he's going to be at a new team. He should be getting accustomed to LA and all their traffic. We found out that it's not a walking city, so
yeah.
So
I heard that Pooch cats. I like to walk around the city.
I am so bored. You call a fucking Uber. Call an Uber. I know you're going to burn 20, 30 minutes in the car going wherever you're going, but that's the cost of life.
God damn, buy an Xbox and watch more porn. You cannot possibly be bored. Seriously. John Tolkien, I like this one. I have some, it's not much, guys. It's like, a big hope for Tolkien. I really do. I think if he can leave in the next 2 years, go to Europe, I think he's got a chance to be another
20
Scally.
years old. Yeah.
Another Scally possibility there for Tolkien. I think he's good enough for that. I think he can play in Europe in a top 5 league. You want to move to the midfielders?
He's the exact same age as Scally at this point.
Yeah.
And you got to remember that Scally made the jump. He played half a season with the second team, and then all of a sudden he's a consistent starter. Mind you, that was also a consistent starter a year ago, but
Farka loves him.
Yeah.
Farka loves him. All right. Alan Sonora's on the team, even though he doesn't have a club, which is fine. There are several of these guys that don't have clubs. Sean Johnson doesn't have one either. It's not a big deal. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how he fits in here. I understand he wants to come to MLS. Was it Toronto?
Montreal. Montreal's set up bid for him. He talked about going to MLS, but he also has some interest in Europe, apparently, in Spain.
Yeah,
especially.
We've seen that, heard that
before. Sure, I mean, teams are always tracking.
They're always tracking. They're tracking. Kellen Acosta, I'm actually fine with him being the veteran on this group because he is the only one in the midfield that is a vet. You need one. Aaronson, we already talked about. Aiden Morris, it's good to see him healthy. I don't know where he goes from here, but this will be a good chance to see him maybe step up. I don't know. Maybe we play a double pivot and we just fuck Gregg's tactics in the ass. I would love to see Aiden Morris and like Eric Williamson or Kellen Acosta play a double pivot, but I'm not.
Well, I guess the good news is that it's a young midfield except for Acosta and Williamson, basically. And I forgot about Sonora. I guess Sonora. I'm not sure how old Alan Sonora is.
Oh, Sonora's like 24, I believe.
Spot on.
Thank you. Yeah, you should just ask me first. All right, Paxton Pomacall.
I was able to type it up faster than you responded.
I didn't know. I heard you tapping away. I'm like, I'm just going to save him that. Paxton Pomacall, we've talked about him plenty here. I mean, he's been riddled with injuries. I'm happy to see him get this chance. I'm not complaining about it, but, you know, he's had 2 healthy seasons in a row. His first healthy season back sucked. His second one back was pretty fairly average. So I don't know. I'm not a big Pomacall believer right now. So maybe he changes my mind. I don't think these 2 games are going to be games where he can change my mind, but I'm willing to watch and see. Eric Williamson.
What type of a Aiden Morris? What type of a center midfielder is he? Is he more offensive or defensive?
Holding, defensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, we're looking at 3 more defensive-minded midfielders here and 3 offensive-minded midfielders here.
Yes.
That's just a hodgepodge.
Yeah, it is. So we'll see how that works out. Paul Arriola, what the fuck are you doing on this team? What the fuck are you doing on this team? I don't even understand why you're on this team. I mean, seriously, why are you here? We've got enough veteran shit with the Jesus Ferreira guy. Although he's not really a guy I would call a leader. So maybe they needed 1 veteran as a forward. And if that's their thinking, okay, you needed 1 veteran guy in the forward group. Okay, fine. You picked Paul Arriola. He's a good, positive dude. He's a good, positive guy. I mean, look, he didn't even complain about not making the national team. So, although if they called me back, I would have been like, yeah, didn't you be like, oh, he did say it was disappointment.
He was disappointed. He didn't badmouth anybody, but he's like, I was really hoping to be there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Bam.
Yep. Then we got Cade Cowell, man boy. He is not going to Everton, folks. Don't let people keep telling you that. That's not happening. We told you that months ago. It ain't happening. Not going to Everton.
This list of forwards, they got Matthew Hoppe as an actual 9.
Yes, they do.
Wow, look at that.
The actual 9s are Hoppe, Ferreira, and Vasquez. Vasquez, yes. And Jesus Ferreira. Vasquez. I mean, Jesus Ferreira, I don't know why he's on this team. I really don't.
I mean, he's had it's not. I always look at Camp Cupcake as kind of like the participation award for players who just generally don't make the big boy teams windows. Ferreira definitely gets called in, but then you say the same thing about Zimmerman. You can say the same thing about Acosta. You can say the same thing.
Well, Zimmerman's there for leadership.
Sure, I won't disagree with that.
Captain.
Yeah, it's just it's you look at Camp Cupcake and you're like, this is sort of like giving those, just like we're like the fringe dangerous population of the fan base. You're giving the fringe dangerous players of MLS and Scandi a chance to make a name for themselves. They could possibly be called in.
I'm like, you could say the same thing as far as not deserving to be here to Hoppe. What's Hoppe proved?
Yeah.
And we love Hoppe, but what's he proved? That he can play for the U21s and U23s at Middlesbrough? I mean, Vasquez will score a goal with his dick. Yes, he will. Thank you, Erlen.
No, let's not lump him in with Zardes. I mean, that's just like putting a
but
around his neck.
No, but he's saying Vasquez would do it on purpose, whereas Zardes would do it on accident. Like
the ball ricocheted off his dick, yeah.
Like it would just lump off his right testicle and go in, and he'd be like, "Go!" or whatever. Whereas Vasquez, God damn it, would do it on purpose. All right.
Too many Z's.
It's too many. That name's too hard for me to say.
Speaking of names with Z's, we got Alejandro Zendejas here.
Can I also, before we get to Zendejas, mention that Emmanuel Sabi's done nothing to earn this call-up either, along with Hoppy, along with Ferreira, and along with Areola. So, listen, I know he plays at OB, but who fucking cares? The dude has not been a standout. He's not been dominant in that league. So, this is like Goebbels all over again. Yes, it is. Except I was right about how to pronounce Goebbels.
BMR still called you out. He said that's not how it's pronounced.
Yeah, he's wrong. He's just wrong. And I know how to say it in German.
Or maybe he was responding when you said gerbils initially. Maybe
no.
He may have been responding to that.
Oh, he might have been. Yeah. But I know how to pronounce his name in both German and English because I am a history freak. Okay, so I could go on a 2-hour rant about Goebbels.
In English, it's pronounced Goey Bells.
But I'm not going to do that because nobody's here for that. All right, Alejandro Zendejas. Yes, okay. People are like, clapping about this. Yay! Yay! But he had no choice anyhow, except for he'd make a one-time switch to Mexico.
Couldn't make the one-time switch anytime he wanted to, but he didn't want to close the door. He wanted to play for U.S. because he's played for a number of the players. He's played with Adams. He's played with Pulisic. He's really good friends with Pulisic. Probably wants to be there.
How dumb are Mexico?
So fucking dumb.
They don't know how to read the fucking rule book? Then again, FIFA barely understands their fucking rules. So, breaking, Mexico ordered to forfeit a pair of friendlies and fined. Forfeit a pair of friendlies. Like they give.
I wonder if that's going to affect their FIFA ranking.
And how did they get 10,900?
Well, no, because it was
900.
They were fined 10,000 Swiss francs, which came out to 10,900. I'm guessing pesos.
Jesus, the pesos better than the fucking franc, Swiss franc.
Or that could be dollars. I don't know. I mean, there's a dollar sign in front of it, so who knows?
Or not better. I'm sorry. By FIFA for using U.S. men's national team forward Alex Zendejas. FIFA also ordered Mexico to forfeit 3 U23 matches they could fucking care less about where they used him. All the forfeits become 3-0 defeats. Oh, wow. Just as he says there. Wow.
And USMNT national team versus haters does actually post receipts. Here it is. It's an ESPN article. And you can go and read that anytime you want to.
What the fuck? Okay. So FIFA's known that this has gone on for years because he's played multiple games for Mexico. What, they just waited till now?
At least 5.
They waited until now to do this? Why didn't they call up Mexico after the first time he played for him and said, hey, he has to make a one-time switch, guys. You're fucking up. No, they're going to let him go play a few more times before they call him up and say, hey, you're fucking up. Ugh. Yeah, but it doesn't matter, Lefty. Who cares?
But it'll always be funny to go back through the results and say, oh, my God, Mexico lost to Guatemala 3-0?
There'll be an
little asterisk next to it, a little annotation, if you will.
Well, what they'll do in Wikipedia, for instance, they'll leave the score, and then they'll put a little asterisk next to it, and you have to scroll down and say, actually, Mexico had to forfeit this game, and it'll be down in the small print. So, yeah. I don't think it's that big. Listen,
no, it's not. This is fucking stupid.
Mexico should have known the rules. Zendejas, it's not on him. It's not on him to know the rules. That's not his job to know the rules. Yeah. That's the federation's job to know the rules. And it's also FIFA's job to call up Mexico the first time it happens and say, don't do that again.
Now, do you think Alejandro still got paid? Obviously, he got paid for playing in those friendlies.
He didn't get paid much. Not much. Not much at all. That was like B team stuff. So I don't know. I'm sure he got paid something.
BT. I gotcha.
So yeah. All right. I think we got through everything. Do we have any more? Because we've been going for an hour and 20. That is usually when I start getting antsy.
Southampton has reportedly offered a highest bid for Haji Wright for about 8 to 10 million.
I tell you what.
He's got other offers in Russia, England, Italy, Saudi Arabia, and China.
Russia? I wouldn't touch Russia with a fucking 2-foot, 10-foot pole. Saudi Arabia? What? You want to disappear for a couple of years? China? You want to disappear for a couple seasons? Go to China. No one will know what you're doing.
For 8 to 10 mil, man. I mean, he'd be looking at something like $800K to $1 million bonus into his pocket for that transfer. So, I mean, you're still relevant at that point, but you're playing for a team you may not necessarily find playing time for, but
I think he might find playing time for Southampton. They're in desperate situation here.
There's no way he goes to Russia. No way he goes to Saudi Arabia or China.
Fuck that. No
England
way.
or Italy seem to be the only obvious ones, or staying within Turkey, because apparently there are a couple of bids in Turkey too. Big boys in Turkey, basically.
Why even mention Russia? No one's going to Russia right now. No one.
They can't participate in Europe, but they can't participate in Champions League. Why would anybody want to go there?
They're fucked until this war ends. And it looks like this war is going to go on for a long time because Russia looks like shit. Like their fucking military sucks a lot more than even they thought it. Like they probably thought they were dominant. Well, nope. They're getting beat by a thrown together fucking army from Ukraine. They're getting their asses kicked and embarrassed. Like they got to be embarrassed because this is supposed to be like a 2-week war. Well, they'll try more like maybe a 12-year war at this rate. So nobody, as long as this goes on, nobody wants to transfer to Russia because they have been basically banned by the world. All right. I'm pleasantly surprised by the roster. I hope.
Sorry, this made me laugh a little.
And trade him for an arms dealer. Yeah. Chris Gary says, I'm pleasantly surprised by the roster. I hope the veterans are there to make up the numbers, and we play the U23s for the most part. It also seems Hoppy is still seen as a winger under the Hudson Varas rule. No, he was actually listed as a center forward.
They have 4 legit wingers there. So I'm not saying that he won't not play there, but
he might. God, I hope we get a manager that doesn't put players out of position. Well, I mean, the last manager we had that didn't do that was Bruce Arena, because outside of that, we saw Jurgen Klinsmann do it a lot, and we've seen Berhalter do it some. So, yeah, I don't know. Master Bator. Dennett. All right. Thank you, Chris Gary. You are the real MVP. Also, thank you to Boomer Ritchie for being such a wonderful ambassador for the show. You were pure comedy gold in the comment section on Best Soccer Show last night. You had me rolling. Yes, I was on the show last night. And yeah, they were late to the show because Jason was rubbing one out and it was taking him forever to get it done with. So it's like, come on, dude, get it done. No, it was just technical issues, honestly. But, you know.
Internet went down. He couldn't watch porn. I understand.
Who is Jason's co-host? That guy. He should be on this show. I can't remember his name all of a sudden. That guy has the same sense of humor we do. He's a dirty-minded dude. Like, he was talking about how his mic thing was... He said, I want my mic to be here, but he said, look what happens when I let my hand go. And he said, and the mic went up. He's like, things got an erection and I can't fix it. Yes, you should be on this show, dude. I can't remember your name. I feel really bad about that. God damn it. Anybody else remember his name? Jared. Thank you. Jared Dubois. Or does he say Dubois? No. It's Dubois. It's Dubois. That's the way it's really pronounced. It's a French name. It's Dubois.
I've never heard anybody refer to it as Dubois. So
I have, because there was a famous African-American leader who pronounced it Dubois. Yeah. Anyhow, we'll get into that now. Let's see. I'm not sure you saw the Canadian U20 roster, but Canada, American dual national center back Craven Moorhead from the Whitecaps was on it. I like the Camp Beef Curtains roster. It's about as good as it could be, I guess. Listen, Canada's hurting, dude. Craven Moorhead is a horrible player, but so is most of the fucking U20 team of Canada. They got a lot of work to do because they don't have half the shine we do right now.
Oh, man. I just now sat down and recalled that they played in the U23 qualifiers, and they were no bueno.
Yeah, they were bad.
Pretty bad.
Sean Weeks has been hammering us about Sam Rogers for some time, so I'm sure he's rubbing one out right now, or today when the announcement came out about Sam Rogers making the team. Hopefully, more young Americans seeking playing time go to Rosenborg and compete in Champions League Europa. I mean, that's a stretch because Rosenborg aren't getting very far in Champions League. But I get what you're saying, Sean. I'm happy for you. Are you happy that I'm happy for you? If you are, give us a like. Because
I don't hold the Champions League and Europa games as high of esteem as other people do when it comes to, they should go to this place and play for this team because they'll likely get Champions League games. Again, outside of like the big boys in every league, you're talking about like 3 games or whatever it is, like 5 games or whatever the fuck it is.
Sure.
6 games, whatever the hell. But anyways, you're talking about a small portion of games compared to what you're going to be playing, because you could go to, I don't know, Serbia and play for the top Serbian team there and possibly get Europe or Champions League.
For sure.
And then outside of those 6 games that you probably just got your asses handed to you, you're playing in Norway or you're playing in Serbia. So it's like I would rather take a situation where Aaronson and Adams are playing for Leeds, where they're battling week in, week out against the best of the best, and not getting Champions League or Europa minutes, than going to a lesser league and playing in a Europa Champions League.
Show of hands. How many people on this show wake up with jizz-laden drawers because they're about to go watch a Europa League match? Nobody does. Listen, I follow it, and I track all the Americans that play in it. And, of course, I love the little run that Fulham had with Dempsey many years ago. Guys, this Europa League, that's like, okay, that's Division II Champions League. Like, that's not really that. Yeah, it's like playing for the NIT. It's absolutely what it is. Like, the only reason I watch some of the games for Europa League is because there are Americans playing on certain teams. Like, but how many times can you watch an American playing for Ferencváros in Hungary and get a hard on? You don't. You do not get what do they call that? Sports arousal from watching that. I only do it because I wanted to see how Henry Wingo was doing. That's it. It's not because I cared about Europa League. I don't even care. Couldn't tell you I couldn't even name you the last 10 winners of any of the Europa League tournaments. I just don't care. I don't. All right, where are we? We still have more shit here.
This is the last thing. Don't worry, Berlin. I've got it pulled up here.
All right.
So there's this huge argument between American Soccer United and Ralph about Ferreira and Sargent. I'm not going to scroll through it all and bother with that. We'll
just
put it
give
this
me
way.
A summary.
Ralph claims that American Soccer United ranks Sargent over Ferreira because of where Sargent plays.
That's fair.
And American Soccer United says, no, you're the only one who's mentioned location. I just rate him higher than Ferreira.
So go up and let me read what Ralph Breaks the Internet said. You overvalue players based off their geographical locations. No, nobody does that. Nobody does that. We basically look at what leagues they're playing in, the quality of the fucking league that they're playing in, and then decide how good they're doing in the quality of the league that they're playing in, and then decide based on that context. Like, this is the dumbest argument I've ever heard. You overvalue players based off their geographical locations? What is that? Some way to sound smart, but actually not be smart? That's what that is. Don't make statements like that. All right? Saying somebody is overrated because they play in the championship and have scored 7 or 6 goals or whatever Josh Sargent is, that's ridiculous. Make the argument based on the individual being discussed. If we're discussing Sargent, then discuss Sargent as he is with Norwich in the championship.
Well, he doesn't go into much detail, but he does talk about that.
All right. If you think Sargent is the baller, I've yet to see it. I agree. Sometimes I don't see that baller. Ralph, I don't. I agree with you. Sometimes we have busted his balls for a long time up until this season for not being a baller. But he's been played out of position so long, I'm starting to wonder if that's not Josh Sargent's fault at all.
Here you go, Berlin. You're getting it.
I've been talking put him for years, waiting for him to do something. Only reason you praise him is because of where he's at, not his game. Well, dude, Ralph, he has been doing something this season when he got to play center forward. He did do something. It's called score a lot of goals. And now that he's being played out right, out left, winger, and sometimes, which I'm sure Berlin's going to bring up, as a midfielder, it's just him playing out of position. So it's not fair. Okay. What's Berhalter's? What is Berlin's deal? What was that all about?
No. He said he goes, that wasn't the point. And then all of a sudden you brought up the fact that he was played out of position. I'm like, well, there you go, Berlin. You're going to get your wish here. Because Berlin
thinks he's a midfielder.
Yeah, he says he's a midfielder. We'll get into that in just a second. Because this does all lead into it. He just talks about how, Jesus has been donkey balls for the Nats.
Yes.
And nobody's brought up location except for you, et cetera, et cetera.
He was donkey balls for Dallas in the playoffs. That's what he was too. Ferreira was donkey balls in the fucking playoffs for Dallas. Can we just be honest? He was horrible. He was horrible.
Scored a lot of goals, but yeah, I can't say
that's regular season.
Oh, sorry, you said playoffs. My bad.
His playoff.
My bad.
When the pressure hit, when it was big time and it mattered for the most, Ferreira was not good. Period. And when he played in the World Cup, what was he? Utter fucking anal fluid. That's what he was. Whereas Sargent, when he played up until his injury, was quite handy and quite effective.
And Ralph talks about how Sargent really hasn't lit up with the national team either. And American talks about how all of Jesus' goals, you're going to talk about all of Jesus' goals in this situation. Yeah, again, all of his goals came from teams 100 and on from FIFA rankings. So you got to take that up. Hold on.
Anyone can score in a whorehouse. Come on. Jesus Christ. You just need a few bucks. Give me a break.
Oh, my goodness. Look. Colin's returned. Colin, we haven't seen you in the chat for a long time. Says Haji Wright is better than Sargent. I told all you idiots who said Turkey.
Oh, he's always making friends. He's got to say idiots. He doesn't know how to make friends.
You can make the argument. You say Wright is better than Sargent. You can make that argument if you want
I told you guys that. Who said Turkey sucked? Like I told all you idiots who said Turkey sucked. I don't remember anybody saying Turkey sucked. I do remember
there's definitely a number of people that are like, it's Turkey.
It's on.
I think you made the argument. This isn't a Turkey from 10 years ago, or whatever.
No, it's not. It's not the Turkey from 10 years ago. It is not as good. So I don't know about Wright being better than Sargent, but we'll see. That story is still being written. That narrative is still being discussed and develops as before us. We'll see what happens there.
I'll say
Sargent is a better player.
Sargent was much better in the World Cup than Wright was.
Fuck yeah, he was.
So,
but hey, Colin, way to make friends, man.
All right, but I said Sarge has 9 goals so far this season with Norwich, most of the games out of position. He was leading goal scorer for arguably one of the worst teams in Bundesliga 1 history. Rarely played striker for Norwich and EPL, but still had chances missed, most missed, few made. It's okay to assume he'd do it in MLS too, which is one of the arguments that they're having.
Well, the other thing you could say is that at least Wright is scoring for one of the lower teams in Turkey. And Talyaspor is nothing to write home about. I can tell you, it's not a loaded team, and yet he's scoring. So.
Yeah, and we've talked about this too. In the sense that if he's scoring for one of the lower teams in Turkey at the rate he is and being one of the league's top scorers, then that says more about him than anything. But
this is American mission creep with the Sargent story. Most goals in position, only goals scored in EPL or as a midfielder, had 10-ish easy chances in EPL to score 1 goal as center forward. Food for thought, or me just being obstinate? I think you're being a little crusty about this because when Pookie was out and he got to play center forward, he did score, he did deliver. Then Pookie came back and he was forced back out wide again. And his current coach thinks he's a center forward, but then again, he started Pookie at center forward anyhow last game. And what did Pookie do? Score. So guess what? Sargent's not going to get that center forward spot unless he proves to David Wagner that he is the man with the biggest fucking testicles in the room when it comes to goal scoring. And until that happens, he's going to play out wide. Hey, we might even see him more in midfield again, or as a second striker, which I think would be fine. I'd be happy, as Wagner did last game, playing him more as a second striker. I'm good with that. It's better than playing him as a winger, which is fine, and he does okay with it. But
yeah, basically, this has been Berlin's point. I will say yes, that's accurate.
Yes, but he's played there more often, so of course.
I think more. I would have to go back and look, and maybe Berlin, maybe you have this saved on your Rolodex of Sargent facts. But I would say that he probably scored more of his 7 goals as a striker and with Bremen during that time period when he actually played striker than as a winger.
Well, I'm going to go back and look it up. I'm sure it's close. It's probably really close. But he's played a lot more games as a winger than a center forward. And yet when he was a center forward, for that brief period of time, he was scoring goals in bunches. Now, it's not going to catch up to all the times he scored goals as a winger because he's done that every time except for the small window when Pookie was gone. So, I mean we're never going to know. It's like comparing.
I don't know. Here's my take on the whole matter. I would like to see the team just play with the 2-striker formation. Fuck this 4-3-3 garbage. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan. I haven't been a fan. I'm just not a fan.
You know what? And here's to you, ESPN Plus, you fucking dickheads who carry the championship. How about when you decide what championship games to play, you pick out for us here in the broadcast for the United States the fucking teams that Americans fucking play on, you dickheads. You fucking creeps. Don't you do any research? All of us want to watch Norwich because Sargent's on it. All right? So put the fucking games up.
Or quit making me in there.
Quit making me do illegal fucking viewings on places I'm not supposed to be with my computer.
It really should be either Sargent or DK. I mean, you could throw in he's injured and all, but the kid's playing for Sunderland.
Gooch.
You could
throw in Luton. You could throw in
Huddersfield,
Middlesbrough, Huddersfield. Well, no one will watch that because nobody knows who Dwayne Holmes is.
I know, but I'm saying it should pretty much predominantly here in the stateside. I mean, I understand that there's going to be fans of each team or whatever, but predominantly we're talking about 2 of U.S. striker pool options here that are still young, that are playing. One would imagine that ESPN would look at that and say, maybe we should, unless they have a contract saying they have to spread it out. I don't know. But I would say, why wouldn't they not show one or the other?
I don't know. Maybe they think all of us here in the United States want to watch Cardiff City every fucking weekend.
Woo.
I can guarantee them that's not true. And I don't know if they've done the research or what, or how they decide. Just pay Norwich $5 to watch it. That's true, but you know what? I'm paying every motherfucker $5 these days. Every motherfucker is getting $5 out of my asshole right now, and I'm getting sick of fucking shelling out $5 to every fucking moron who comes along with the subscription service. I really am. I'm getting sick of it. They're draining me. It all adds up to a big amount, and that's why we're going to use your donation and your super chats, of which there's not been one on this show, to get these subscriptions so we can watch the show.
And you're not required to either. I'm just saying, you're not required to.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to do it. We never complain about it. We never complain about getting.
Wish there hasn't been a single goddamn one of those yet.
I'm just saying that's a fact, Jack. All right.
Is it $5 per game? If it's $5 per game, then
they can get wrecked if it's $5 a game. All right. Okay. I think we're done here, folks. Right, Brett? Are we done? Are you done guiding me along this path?
Hold on, we still have 20 more minutes before it's 2 hours. Let's see what we talk about.
No, Brett, stop it. Don't even try it. All right, guys, we do love you. I know we bust a lot of balls around here, but it's a lot of fun. So if I offended anybody, I'm sorry.
Grow up here.
It's been a lot of fun. Make sure you like, subscribe. Make sure you like and subscribe. It does help. It does help. Trust me. And share it with your grandma or your aunt or your
I'd settle
uncle.
for just Twitter in general.
Or just share it on Twitter. Yeah, just fucking splatter that shit all over the place. All right. Until the next time on the Straight Red Card, stay out of trouble and do not watch those toolkit killer. Don't
started with it,
that.
now we're ending with it, huh?
Yes, don't do it. Good night.
She's a trap, she's an unsung novel, turn a lap and get your whole world dazzled on the line, or a phone call with or without wine.
Derek,
We're still
live.
Why?
Because Chris Gary jumped on and gave us a super chat.
Thank you, Chris. Well, we love you. You were the best. Fine, Derek. I hope you're happy. Enjoy 1/3 of a Norwich match. See you Monday. Yeah, you probably should have texted me, give me a warning.
Well, at least you haven't whipped out your dick yet.
No, I haven't. Which I do after every show and dance around nude. All right. Until next time, we'll see you soon.
You're gonna do her. Yeah.
Oh no!
Man, what the hell was that?